Can I just make a quick service announcement? Netflix just canceled American Vandal Season 2, one of my favorite shows on Netflix. How could you do this to me? We need to tweet them, we need to make hashtags. This show needs to be saved. I know they canceled Iron Fist and Luke Cage, but American Vandal? Come on! What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. I just binged the entire 10-episode run of the first season of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, a show I was very excited about, a show that I really didn't know that much about other than it's something that we are familiar with because they had a show, they had a comic book. This one was less based on the show and more based on the comic book, but we will get into all of those things. If you guys don't know how my reviews work, I like to talk about the good, the bad, and then give you my score. Like I said, I just binged this entire thing, so I finally get to take a break and talk about it with you guys. I want you to comment in the comments section below. I will not go heavy on the spoilers. If you want a spoiler review, we will try to do another video. Let me know if you think I should, but right now, non-spoilers, we can still have a discussion. Let's talk about Sabrina. Let's get right into it. So as her 16th birthday nears, Sabrina must choose between the witch world of her family and the human world of her friends. This is based on the Archie comic. And this also stars a very talented cast. And the girl who plays Sabrina, her name is Kiernan Shipka. I hope that's how you pronounce it, but this girl is fantastic. She is exactly what I wanted Sabrina to be. She has the emotion. She has the on-screen presence. Her dialogue is fantastic. And I don't think that's just the writing. I think that's her performance. She's believable. When she gets angry, you can feel it. Even though she's so nice throughout the whole series, you're like, oh, you don't get angry. But when she does, you're like, oh, you get angry. Lucy Davis and Miranda Otto are Aunt Hilda and Zelda, and they are so good in this series. I love Lucy Davis from Wonder Woman specifically, but everything she has been in, she either cracks me up or gives a genuinely good performance. And then Miranda Otto, she has the chops, the acting chops. She is in command every time she is on screen. They're not in it as much as I thought they were going to be. They're side characters. They stay in those roles, and they do them very, very well. Then you have a character that I personally am less familiar with. Some people might be, but that is Ambrose. And Ambrose is awesome. He is bound to the house, cannot escape. He has a role in this story, and his role is very interesting to me. One of the better storylines in the series as a whole, and I cannot wait to see what this guy does next because he's a really good actor. I just can't wait to see this entire cast and other things because you know Sabrina, it's going to be really popular. This cast is going to get even more popular than they already were, kind of like Stranger Things, and that's very exciting because I really enjoyed most of the performances on screen. All right, Austin, we get it. The cast is good, but what are your thoughts on the story? Well, I can start with this. The story went in so many different directions. From when you start at the beginning, you're like, all right, I think I know where this is going. There's one theme here, and they're going to stick to that. But no, episode 2 or 3, they kind of wrap up one of the smaller storylines, a storyline that I thought was going to carry out throughout the entire thing. And then they start on these other tracks, right? You have different things happen to different people, different supporting characters. And Sabrina, she has to be a teenage witch. She has to figure a lot of these things out, and while that is happening, there is still the thing that happened in the beginning that's still kind of running its course, and it's interesting to see those two things kind of come together. I really enjoyed the story with Sabrina. It is something that I find completely creepy. First of all, this is not your grandmother Sabrina. I'm telling you one thing. This thing is, it's crazy. And I mean crazy like goat heads and Satan and people coming back from the dead and cannibalism. That all happens within like 2 episodes, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, I'm not doing spoilers, so I'm not going to tell you exactly who does what, but there's some really creepy stuff in Sabrina, some stuff that I was not anticipating. I should have because it's Netflix. If you watch Haunting on Hill House, that show was genuinely creepy and scary. While I didn't get scared watching Sabrina, I got creeped out, I got freaked out, and there was some stuff crawling under my skin because there are scenes with spiders and just the weirdest looking creatures. I'm telling you right now, when Satan comes out, and when he comes out with all everything that's going on right here, you're gonna be like, oh, that's freaky. And that's a testament to the practical effects, first of all, and the CGI. Both things really good. They mesh together. At points, you can tell it's a smaller budget, but overall, I will say I didn't have a big problem with the CGI, and I usually do with these smaller series, so props to Sabrina for that as well. And like I said, this is Archie Comics, right? This is in the same world as Riverdale, technically in the comic books. I don't know about in the TV show world, but they name drop Riverdale, and I'm sitting there like, Oh, that's cool. And don't worry, fans of the Sabrina television series from the 90s. I'm telling you right now, this show is completely different, so don't think you're getting that when you're walking into this show, because that's not what you're getting. Like I said, this show is based more on the comics and less on the television show. Yes, you have some of the same reoccurring characters, but they're doing different things. They're doing more adult things than you saw in that show. And yes, Salem is back, the cat is here, and the cat is really cool. I loved seeing it on screen. It was kind of a throwback because I never really watched the old show. It was always kind of on television because my mom used to like to watch it. She enjoyed that kind of thing. And I would sit there and I'd be like, yeah, this is Sabrina. But now, this is Sabrina for the new generation and the old generation alike. I think a lot of people are going to find this maybe pushing things a little bit too far, and I understand if you think some of these things were a bit too gruesome, because for a second, I did think some of these things were a bit too gruesome. Not for me necessarily, but I can see how other people will think that. But I'm telling you right now, this is Sabrina, and I'm going to keep coming back because I had a blast with this series. And that's the most important thing. You know, when you're watching Netflix, whether it's a movie or a show, and I review all of them, movies and shows alike, I try to binge them all in one day. When you're binging something, it just matters if you're having fun, if you're entertained, if you're engaged with the characters, if you're just sitting there with a smile on your face. I was doing all of those things. I was having a blast, really getting into these stories, the emotional connections, the relationships. When certain characters would go, I'd be like, man, that stinks. And then when certain characters would not go, I'd be like, why are you not going, because you deserve it. But that's the beauty of a good show. You care what happens to the characters, and the environment that surrounds them has to be built up in a good way. It's another thing I really liked, is just the way that you feel while watching this. It's dark, it's creepy, it's kind of gloomy at times. There's a lot of witchcraft and a lot of creepy stuff if you're hard into religion. I mean, I'll just come out and say it. I'm a Christian, so at times I was watching this like, oh man, this is it's a little blasphemous. It's a TV show. You pay no mind to that. You go on to the next thing. And I still sat there with a smile on my face because they made this thing as fun as they possibly could while sticking to the source material. That's really cool. Did I mention the goat head demon? Yeah, that thing. I keep thinking about it. It's freaking me out. In terms of episodes and storylines, I loved episode 5. It's so funny to me because my favorite episode of The Haunting of Hill House was episode 5 because it fleshed out the characters better than any other episode, and it brought us the best dialogue. Same thing with Sabrina. Episode 5, it has to do with your dreams, and that's all I'm going to say, but it fleshed out these characters to a T. You got to learn a lot more about them. It integrated the other storylines very well. It had our villain, who I've not even talked about yet. She's really good. She gets these characters to buy into her, and then she's doing creepy things in the background. That's how you expect a villain to work, and I'm just sitting there like, come on, you guys. You gotta catch on to her. But no, episode 5 was great. I love the storyline with the possessed uncle. That's all I'm going to say about that. I thought that storyline was really well done when it came to a head. Although I did expect what was going to happen, I liked it when it happened, and then some twist happens at the end and you're like, man, but I really like that storyline. Might be my favorite creepy storyline of Sabrina. Another really good thing about Sabrina, and I'll keep spouting out positives here, is that it progressively gets better. It starts out a little slow. It takes time to build these characters, but that's okay. And it also has a slight CW feel to it. When I say that, I mean it kind of leans heavily into, the relationships and the love stories and the teenagers. It's got to cater towards those things. But that's okay. When I say a show feels like it should belong on a CW, I like CW shows. I'm a huge fan of The Flash. I love The 100 when I used to watch. I need to catch up on that show. Supernatural, all of those things really work for me, so it's not necessarily a negative, and it does cater to its audience. These are people that are going to be watching the show, probably watching this review. I appreciate and respect that it knows who its audience is, but it's not just for that audience, it is for everyone. This show is so good in so many different ways, and there's so many things to like about it. There are things to not like, and I'll get into that in a second, but overall, Sabrina, I just said it caters to a specific audience, and you can definitely tell there are certain parts about the story where I'm like, maybe they wouldn't have to lean so heavily into this romantic aspect or lean so heavily into this thing that maybe shouldn't belong on Netflix. It's a little too teen rom-com for me, but that's fine. It has to cater towards that audience, and it works for the most part. There are also some lines of dialogue in here, and you're gonna get it with a show like this. It's just completely and utterly cheeseball. There's some characters that come in and they completely get on my nerves. They may not get on anybody else's nerves, but I'm just like, can we just have less time with this character and focus on the people that we really enjoy? Same thing with the acting. Some of the actors are not as good as some of the other actors, and those things tend to get in the way and kind of undershadow what we really appreciate about our main characters. I'm not saying they play prominent roles, but when they're there, you're just like, This is a nitpick, but at one point they're throwing Sabrina a birthday party and they don't think she's showing up, but they buy her a cake anyway. Why would you buy somebody a cake? Why would you waste cakes are expensive, especially if you go to like Food City. Those things are, they're good. It's probably worth it. And when you dissect the plot at the beginning of Sabrina, a girl does not want to do what her family is forcing her to do, so she is running away from her responsibilities to her family to find herself. Sound familiar? To me, it sounds like every other thing we have ever seen for this specific audience, maybe on this platform. It's a very familiar storyline. Fortunately, like I said at the beginning of this review, it does not go completely in that direction. It takes these side stories. It goes in different ways, and I really like that they switched up what you think the plot is going to be, and they give you these storylines that end up being a lot more interesting while still retaining what they had in the first 2 episodes, even though they kind of get rid of some characters where I'm like, oh man, I really like that guy. There's also an overuse of that background blur effect, when the main person is in focus and everything in the background is really harshly blurred out. No one else is going to notice that, but I do film criticism. I notice that, and I'm just like, you're doing this every scene and it's kind of getting jarring. No, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Overall, guys, this series is good. It got deeper than I thought it was going to be. It asks some very important questions. There's one line in the show where one of the characters even asks Sabrina, why is your faith more valid than mine? Even though obviously I'm on Sabrina's side, there are some interesting questions asked, some deeper meanings to some themes in Sabrina. Something I never thought I would say, but it just adds another layer to an already entertaining show, guys. I am going to give The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina an 80%. Really good show. Go check this one out. Should I do a spoiler review? Is there enough in this series for me to push out a spoiler review? I'm doing spoiler stuff on my Patreon page, which I just set up. I'm announcing that officially tomorrow. But if you think I should do one on this channel, I'm definitely going to do one. So let me know in the comments down below. Discuss Sabrina. No spoilers right now. We might save that for a little bit later. But tell me what you think about it. And to check out that review, be sure to hit that notification bell, subscribe to this channel, whatever, because every single weekend I'm doing a brand new Netflix review. And I'm not even done this weekend. Castlevania got a season 2. Guess who is watching that and guess who is reviewing it? I am. My goal is to review 75 to 80% of everything dropping on Netflix. That is a lot of stuff, but with your help, I am absolutely going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, for everything that you do to me. Check out my 10,000 subscriber celebration on Sunday. I have a huge giveaway coming. I have already bought the stuff. I'm going to show it to you then. You guys are the absolute best, and I'll catch you later.